Alrighty, breaking news: Lamarcus Aldridge has retired after 15 seasons. How shocked are you by that, Michael?
I was actually pretty shocked. I mean, it kind of happened unexpected. And I thought, he's up there in age, but he's still got like a couple of years left. Uh, I thought.
Well, I know he supposedly had a heart problem and that was really big, but he had just signed with the Nets, and I think he had his really first chance. Well, I guess with the Spurs, he had a few years where they could have won a championship, but I thought those last few seasons in San Antonio, they just didn't really have much of a chance, and they were just mediocre. But I think this is kind of his first time that he had since, 2015, 2016, that he had a chance to win a championship. So it's kind of disappointing because unless the Nets give him one or he joins an assistant coach, there's no way he's going to win a championship, which I think might hurt his Hall of Fame career. Speaking of Hall of Fame, do you think Lamarcus Aldridge is a Hall of Famer, Michael?
I don't personally think so. I think he's a really good player, for sure. And I definitely think he's up there, but I just think that there's a lot of good NBA players, especially like this upcoming generation that there's just so many good players that I think deserve it more than him.
Yeah, I mean, how Lamarcus Aldridge was great or was good, but I don't know if he was ever great. And I think, like I said, as you pointed out, it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Good. Which I think Lamarcus Aldridge is one of the greatest Portland Trailblazers of all time, outside of Clyde Drexler and Damian Lillard and Bill Walton. And I think he probably will go in the Spurs Hall of Fame, I think. But I think overall, he probably won't reach the fame because he just didn't do quite enough. I mean, he did get 7 or 8 All Star games or appearances. He made a few All NBA teams. But I think, as you previously mentioned, he just wasn't quite that next step. And I think, and of course, not winning a championship might hurt it a little bit. But we'll see what ends up happening. I mean, maybe he comes back surprisingly and wins a championship. I personally think if the Nets do end up winning the championship this year, that they'll probably give a ring to him, just because he was with the team during the season at some point. So we'll see what ends up happening. Again, I put that on our poll question on Friday to say, it was Lamarcus Aldridge a Hall of Famer, and a lot of people said yes. So I was a little shocked about that, but very good player. Disappointed. We'll see what ends up happening. How far do you think the Nets will go this? Do you think the Nets are going to make the championship this year, Michael?
I think with the way the AFC or the not the AFC East, the NBA East is doing, uh, I think they're gonna like pretty much no competition. So yeah, I think they'll make it to the championship.
I think so too. I mean, the Sixers and Bucks are their biggest threat, and I think the Sixers are better than people want to give them credit for. But at the same time, they just don't have enough, and they don't have really that scorer that they can go to. Yeah, they have Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons, but they don't necessarily have a guy that can win them games against a team like the Nets. But the Nets are so good right now, even without Lamarcus Aldridge. I mean, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. They added Blake Griffin. They got Joe Harris. I mean, they're so good. They're pretty much stacked every position. And plus, they have two other coaches outside of Steve Nash that could be head coaches, like Mike D'Antoni and Jack Vaughn. So they just have so much on that team. Let's go back to the Lamarcus Aldridge topic a little bit. Do you think? Do you think without Lamarcus Aldridge, the Nets will really feel anything? Do you think they'll struggle a little bit now that Aldridge is gone?
I personally don't think so, just because they are still really good. They got a lot of support players. As long as uh Kyrie, Harden, and KD can all stay healthy, I think this team could definitely make it to the championship. And I don't think, I mean, Aldridge definitely helped them, but I think they're still going to be good regardless, just because they're so stacked.
Yeah, I mean, it's just gonna be hard for any team to beat the Nets. I mean, even without Lamarcus Aldridge, like he was coming off the bench, and I feel like he was getting a really good. He was starting to get really familiar with his teammates, and now that he's no longer there, that's gonna, I think, not gonna really hurt him, but I think it's just kind of sad to see how Lamarcus Aldridge, right when he's getting to know his team and right when he has a chance to win his first championship, he has to retire because of health problems. It's really disappointing, and well, it's just disappointing to see because I feel like Lamarcus Aldridge could have won at least one or two NBA championships. Thanks for listening to the Sports Town Podcast, or the STP Pod for short. If you want to check out more videos of the Sports Town Podcast, click on the left. If you want to subscribe to the channel, click on the right.